Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's so wonderful to see that the chamber is packed to the brim. You guys are the lucky ones. We had to send hundreds away, so thank you very much for joining us bright and early for a prompt start. I'd like to start off by saying a warm welcome to all of our freshers. Many of you are joining us here for the first time, so a warm union welcome to all of you. This is a very special room. We are 210 years old this year. You are sitting in the same room as Roosevelt, as James Baldwin, as Bill Gates, as Maynard Keynes. So enjoy the space. This is a wonderful room, and we're here every Thursday. And some memories are going to be made tonight, I hope so. So, without taking too long, as is per union tradition, we are going to open the House with a no confidence motion. The motion before the House is as follows. This House has no confidence in His Majesty's government. We have lived through Starmer for a year, so it feels particularly fitting that we discuss it this evening, my goodness. So, I will run through the order very quickly. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with this, we will start off by opening with proposition. That speech will last 10 minutes, then we will go to opposition. After that, there will be a round of floor speeches. At that point, you are able to give us a short speech, 2 to 3 minutes. Please don't take too long. When you give your floor speech, please say your name and your college for the record. Then we will go on to our second proposition speaker. Oh, goodness. Our second opposition speaker, then another round of floor speeches. Then third prop, and then third op. Please note that you can give points of information. Very simple to give. You put your hand up and you say points of information. The speaker can choose to accept or to decline. If they decline, there are no hard feelings. If they accept, it's a simple, here is my points of information, here is a quick question, here is a quick objection. It is not a soliloquy. You can do that in the floor speech when the time is there. Please also do get involved with the floor speeches, because afterwards there are prizes that you can win, and we will let you know who won, and then afterwards come and find us in the bar, and we'll tell you what that surprise is. So, without further ado, let's kick off. Starting this evening, in first proposition, we have the Right Honourable Mrs. Gillian Keegan. Gillian Keegan served as the Secretary of State for Education during the last Conservative government from 2022 until the general election in 2024. Prior to that, she served as Minister in the Department of Health, Department of Education, and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. She was a Member of Parliament for Chichester from 2017 until 2024, when she lost her seat at the last general election. Gillian, you have the ears of the House.
Thank you very much. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. I actually accepted this invitation last year whilst I was the Education Secretary, and I said, of course, I'd be delighted to come along. So thanks very much to all of you for sticking with me. Clearly, it's more than the voters did. But it is still something that, despite not having done this for a year, it's a real pleasure to be here. So thank you very much for inviting me to the President, to the Executive Office, to the Speaker's Officer as well. So I stand here to introduce the motion that this House has no confidence in His Majesty's government. Actually, I'd go further. Does any House in our country have any confidence in His Majesty's government? Well, according to the polls, of which there are many, they're absolutely not. No, 72% of people in the country already think they have absolutely no confidence in this government. Only 11% have any, and there's a few who are still making their mind up. I think they'll make their mind up, if they haven't already, at the budget this autumn. So they are the least popular government in history, our long country's history, the least popular government. They're even less popular than Liz and the lettuce. So it is, let's look at where we are. How has it gone so badly, so quickly, and so wrong? So let's examine character and integrity, and also experience and the record. So let's look what we have. Well, so far we have, let's look at character and integrity. We've got the anti-corruption minister being pursued for corruption, the homeless minister making her tenants homeless, a public health minister, get this, who, let's just say, didn't wish the best of health for his constituents. In fact, he wished them rather less well than that. He wished them dead in one case. We had the housing secretary not knowing how to buy a house legally, misclassifying a property, which is known as fraud under the 2006 Fraud Act. And the transport secretary goes one better and actually gets convicted of fraud. Now, AI is a marvellous thing, as I'm sure you all discover many times a day. So I thought, this sounds quite unusual to me. Let me look. How many times has this happened? How many times have we lost 2 cabinet ministers who've had to resign in less than a year because of dodgy finances and, in some cases, fraud? None is the answer to the question. So that's not including frauds, and that's not even including the serial fraudster and worse, Peter Mandelson, given the plum job as US ambassador, only to be sacked in shame 7 months later. Don't worry, it wasn't like the whole world was watching what was going on. Now, I may have only been an MP for 7 years, but I was a minister for 4.5 years. Well, on this record, I will actually probably get a record for staying in government longer than most of the current cabinet. That is what many of the country feel about this Labour government. Upon scrutiny and upon exposure, it turns out that many of them are frauds. And it doesn't just stop with those. We have a chief whip who lied about being a solicitor, and a chancellor who lied about being an economist. Well, we can all see that. Now, to be fair, they fooled many, not only the voters, but also our experienced, award-winning news hounds who shouted from the rooftops in triumph at the election of the Labour government, "The grown-ups are back in charge," they said. The grown-ups, we had to watch them shimmy down Downing Street with complete makeovers, looking like they didn't before. New clothes, new hairstyles, new glasses. Rachel Reeves couldn't believe her luck, and it wasn't just that she was the first female chancellor in history, as she tells us a lot. No, free clothes to go with the free bag she got from the bank that she'd left many, many years before. And there we were, all watching, all green with envy. Well, until we saw Angela Rayner's green trouser suit. There are some things, ladies and gentlemen, that money simply cannot buy. Now, I am sure there are many definitions of a grown-up. You will all have your own. I'd say mature, responsible, able to take reasoned decisions, financially independent. Surely, at a minimum, you can pay your own bills. Apparently not. Apparently not. I will. Where's the intervention? Yes.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything what you're saying. Didn't this sort of particular culture begin with the Conservative mistakes and scandals in the last 14 years?
Can I just say, in all honesty, I do not know a minister who took free clothes, free shoes, free holidays, or free glasses that I served with in the whole of my time in Parliament. It just does not happen. So, apparently not. So, the freebie scandal erupted within weeks. It destroyed the reputation of the government. And I come from Knowsley, which is a very deprived part of the country. I went back to Knowsley and asked, what did they think about a 62-year-old man asking another man to buy his glasses? And they said, why on earth is that happening? He's not a celebrity. He's not an influencer on TikTok. He's the son. They said tic-tac, not TikTok. It was my old uncle. No, he's the son of a toolmaker, apparently. So what does the son of a toolmaker need somebody else to buy their glasses? They simply do not. So that is absolutely where the public began to see through them. Well, that's the characters of these individuals. So I think I've dealt with that. Perhaps they would have been good politicians, maybe able to develop and further those policies that would enable us to live better lives, drive economic growth, the #1 mission, economic growth. And that could not be clearer. Every politician agrees we as a country need economic growth. We need businesses to grow our economy. They're the only things that do. Whilst the public sector may grow and contribute to the purchasing power, we all have to pay for that, our public services, and taxing has a limit. So we needed businesses to grow our economy. So let's have a look at the record. In July 2024, when I left Parliament and indeed left the job as Education Secretary, growth wasn't brilliant. It was 0.6%. Like every country, we were still struggling to get over the pandemic, which, by the way, will take a decade. September 2025, where are we? 0.2%. Yes, we've got no growth, only decline. Why? What's gone wrong? Simply put, the budget's gone wrong. Now, you're all smart people in this room. Do you think you would invest more in a business that you were paying all the investments when your taxes are rising, when your costs are rising, when your uncertainty is rising? The answer is no. And anyone who's worked in business knows this. So what's gone wrong? How can it be possible to kill growth when you set out to grow? Why would you do that? Why would anybody do that? My own view is economic incompetence. I refer you back to the CV lies, and zero understanding of how businesses work, how they make investment decisions, and which include hiring more staff. Something that should interest many of you in this room, because believe you me, you will be the first people, young people are always the first people to suffer when there is a downturn in the economy. And youth unemployment, when I left school, we were the 1 in 10. It was 3 million or more unemployed at the time. However, I'm prepared to be more generous. Perhaps they knew it would impact growth, all their decisions, and they figured out they've got 5 years, they could front-load the tough choices and maybe come back later on once they've got the economy going. The problem is the size of our public spending, the size of our ever-ballooning debt, means that they're not in control. Cost of borrowing's higher than when Liz Truss was a fresh lettuce. Why? Because the markets have no confidence that the growth will come. And they're right. The Chancellor has destroyed business confidence, market confidence, and investor confidence. And it will be not long before she destroys all of your confidence if you are one of the 11% who still has some. Now, in a bid to hide this, the government says we've had 5 interest rate cuts. So what? Inflation is 4%. Again, when we were in government, we left, it was 2.2%. It's gone up. That's why food's going up, the cost of bills are going up, even the cost of a pint, I'm sure, in a student union has gone up. So only somebody with no idea what they were doing, zero understanding, would put in place policies that affect growth so badly. So now the opposers will try to trick you with statistics. Apart from the 5 interest rate cuts, they might point to more doctors' appointments when they're actually cherry-picking data from when the doctors were on strike. You could not make up the misuse of figures. So next they'll say, we're only in this mess because of the Tories. I think the gentleman over there tried to say something similar. Let's examine that. Well, it turns out that despite dealing with a global financial crash, a global pandemic that closed down the global economy for nearly 2 years, and the first war in Europe into 85 years, it turns out that we did not scrap winter fuel payments for the elderly, tax our farmers and our source of food to extinction, become the first country in Europe to tax education, pay trade union strikers a fortune to stop the strikes, only to not stop a single strike. You couldn't make it up. I started my career in a car factory. I knew at 16 if you paid them more money to stop striking, it wouldn't stop the strikes, it would incentivize the strikes. Now, how can you have confidence in a team that is so clueless, so devoid of experience? Literally, nobody has confidence in the government, not the 10,800 millionaires who've left, the 250,000 fewer jobs, and that's according to The Guardian, that we've had. And I'm sorry to be a doomster and a gloomster, as someone once said, but that's what happens when your Prime Minister and Chancellor send the economy into a doom loop. And it's only going to get worse. This is before November the 26th. Even the Labour Party has no confidence with people voting with their feet. The one credible minister they had, the Investment Minister, Polly Gustafson, she is the extraordinary, the only one who didn't have to extend her CV, enhance her CV, left after 3 months, and there's a revolving door at Downing Street. So change, that's what they promised. They've changed their specs, they've changed their clothes, they've changed their minds, they've changed their tax promises, they've changed their support for businesses and farmers, they've changed their team, and they still are destined to lose because they've changed everything for the worse. Things can only get better. No, things have got much worse because it is the economy stupid. The public's already made its mind up about this government. I invite this House to join them and support the motion. Thank you very much.